where silence grows shape. Zero walked where the world wasn't quite finished. In this forest, motion was a memory. Trees held their breath mid-sway, and leaves remained suspended in the air like emerald glass. A thin, glowing thread was tied to Zero's burnt orange paw, trailing behind him into the indigo shadows. Every time he hesitated, the thread tightened, snagging on the frozen silence of the woods. A sudden trill of music broke the stillness. Ilie, a small bird with feathers that shimmered like liquid moonlight, perched on a low branch. She offered a song of golden notes, a bridge of sound to lead Zero forward. But Zero, caught in his own thoughts, looked at the ground and walked past. The moment he ignored her, the melody snapped, and the vibrant details of the forest began to blur into a gray smudge. The path ahead split into two sharp possibilities. Kayam, a massive wolf the color of a storm cloud, sat at the junction. His fur was laced with glowing silver fracture lines that pulsed like a heartbeat. Zero stopped, unable to choose left or right. As his hesitation grew, the silver cracks on Kayam's body began to widen, and the ground beneath the wolf started to crumble into a void. Zero hurried away from the crumbling path, stumbling toward a clearing filled with floating spheres of water. Inside each globe, a memory flickered, a conversation he hadn't started, a truth he hadn't told. Instead of looking, Zero squeezed his eyes shut and turned his head. Instantly, the clear water turned into thick, suffocating ink, and the spheres grew heavy, sinking toward the forest floor. From the heart of the darkened water, a new presence emerged. Virith, the long, indigo serpent of avoidance, coiled upward. It didn't hiss or growl. It simply grew, its scales a mosaic of deep blues and purples. It moved with the silence Zero had created, a living wall of everything he had refused to face. Zero tried to run, but the forest had become a labyrinth of his own making. Every path he took looped back to the same spot. The silence had accumulated like heavy snow, bending the trees into jagged, impossible arches. The world felt small and cramped, a cage built from the moments he had pushed aside. Exhausted and cornered, Zero finally sat down. He stopped running and looked up at Ilie, who had followed him through the gloom. The bird was dim, her glow fading. "I am listening now," Zero whispered into the cold air. Ilie began to sing again, and this time Zero hummed the final note. As the song completed, a wave of gold light washed over the forest, sharpening the blurred edges of the world. With the song in his heart, Zero returned to the fork in the road. Kayam was nearly transparent, his silver fractures glowing dangerously bright. Zero didn't wait for the fear to leave. He simply chose. He stepped firmly onto the path to the left. The moment his paw touched the soil, the cracks on Kayam's fur mended, and the wolf stood tall, his coat turning into a solid, shimmering silver. Finally, Zero turned to face Virith. The serpent loomed large, a mountain of indigo scales. But Zero didn't look away. He walked toward the creature, acknowledging the weight it carried. As he reached out to touch the serpent's snout, Virith didn't bite. Instead, the serpent began to fray at the edges, dissolving into a gentle mist of indigo rain that nourished the thirsty ground. The forest was no longer unfinished. The trees swayed in a real breeze, and the silver thread on Zero's paw had turned into a golden ribbon that led him toward the horizon. Zero understood now. The things we avoid do not disappear. They grow into the shapes of the world we must walk through. By speaking, choosing, and seeing, he had finally learned how to build a path home.